So, how are you handling stress in light of the COVID-19 pandemic? Hi, I'm Joseph with Joseph Alexander Media. I run a video production company here in Berks County that focuses on producing video content for businesses on social media. I'm also running this project called Social Through Distance. The idea behind this project is that I would sit down with business owners via Zoom or Skype or what have you and discuss their business strategies and how they're handling things during this pandemic. This episode is in reference to a conversation I had a few months ago with Claire Farrar. Claire is a business owner who focuses on homeopathic remedies for your body, as well as being a Doterra consultant. In this episode, we talk about her story, how she's shifting things during this pandemic, as well as how people can be using essential oils to help alleviate things like depression and anxiety during a stressful time such as this. Now, before we go into this episode, I do want to clarify some things. Claire is not a doctor, and she makes no reference to being a doctor. You're going to hear where she has made some medical changes for her and her family. This was things that she has done and things that she is not necessarily recommending that you do. So please keep that in mind as you're listening to this episode. So without further ado, let us dive in. You're Claire Farrar, and your business deals with essential oils. Can you talk a little bit about your business, what you do, who you are as a company, and what you provide as a service to other people?
So I specifically work with Doterra essential oils. I chose to partner with them and use their products based on their sourcing practices, their testing practices on their oils, and the overall integrity of the company. So they have very high regard in their company, and they have a very quality product, and they really pride themselves on that. I started using them 5.5 years ago or so. So my two oldest kids, who are 5 and 6 now, were very little babies. And I basically very quickly started my own business with the oils because I was constantly helping people with the oils. So it just made sense for me to kind of continue down that path because at the time I was home with my kids anyway. So it worked. What I do is, and like I mentioned a little bit earlier, is I meet with people, I teach classes, and we talk about what's going on health-wise in their lives. And we try to get to the bottom of that by using natural solutions. So yes, I use essential oils, but I also am pretty homeopathic in general. That's just taking me on a natural path. So, whether it's acid reflux and using some of the oils, but also apple cider vinegar, or cleaning your home, in a green way, in a natural way where you're not breathing in harsh chemicals. It might be some of our products. It might include some distilled white vinegar, things like that. So really, it's a case-by-case basis. And when people come to me wanting to use essential oils, they're generally in a place to want to find the root cause of a problem and stop using medications like an RX or an over-the-counter medication because of the harsh side effects they might be experiencing. I know that was the case for me and many others that I've talked to. So that's kind of the gist of where it begins. But that's definitely the very beginning of a journey with the products and with me, because once we start that, we definitely are together for a long time. And some people, some of my best friends I've met just by being customers. So that journey could last even longer.
Well, what's something about your business that's really changed during these last few months with everything going on with COVID and everything else?
Well, like many other ones, and like what's going on with any of us, is just the human touch. I mean, just going virtually in general is a change. And I can do a lot virtually. It's not that it can't be done. It's just you're dealing with people's health. So I want to, and anybody that I'm partnered with generally wants to be with people and in front of them and talking to them personally, not talking to them through a screen. I mean, I I meet with people and they tell me about some of like their craziest health ailments, or or stuff that's really personal that might be going on that they're trying to find a root cause or a not cure, a help for, basically. So not meeting with people and talking to people in person is a very big difference, like when it all comes online and virtually.
Sure.
That's been big.
No, I think a lot of people can relate to that, because there's a certain vibe you can get from different people while you're interacting with them, and you can really like find a way to connect with that emotion. But if you're just talking on the phone, or even with this, like even though we're still seeing each other and we're still connecting, it can sometimes be difficult to really connect to that person, and being in the same room with them helps so much.
No, 100%. And we know each other, so it's different. Like we're friends, so we already have like a rapport. But if I'm meeting somebody for the first time, and now it may have to be like with referrals or something like that, it might have to be virtual. I can do the best that I can, and it's not like hopefully I come off friendly and nice and people want to talk to me, but it's not the same. You're right. It's not the same as getting those other things you pick up on when you meet people that you can only get in person.
You and I have also talked before about how it can be a benefit for other things like anxiety and depression, loneliness, different things like that. How is using essential oils when you're feeling these ways, how is that a benefit to helping your mentality and helping your focus?
So we've been dealing with that a lot in our house, and I've talked to a lot of people that are dealing with the same thing right now. And that's the anxiety and stress that's coming with this time. None of us know what's going to happen, or, there's no foreseeable definite answer, which is really shaking everybody, I think. And people that didn't even have anxiety per se before are maybe experiencing those things now, and it's a very big surprise to them. And they don't really know how to handle those feelings. Personally, we're using a line from Doterra called Adaptive. And that is a capsule, an essential oil blend to diffuse, and then a roller ball to use on you topically. And basically it's called Adaptive because the blend of oils that are in the actual oil, and then the blend of oil and other ingredients that are in the capsule are made to help your body adapt to stress and anxiety in a better way, and without the side effects that can come from traditional medications. So we had an anxiety medication in our home, and we looked up the side effects because we wanted to not have that in our home anymore. And we were wondering what was going on. And some of the side effects of an anxiety medication were anxiety.
Right.
So, okay. Why? Anxiety, headache, tremors, stomach pain, drowsiness, nausea, vomiting, blurred vision, confusion, irritability, paranoia, psychomotor agitation, rash, and itching. And that is just to name a few. That is not, it's only one screenshot of the 2 lists of side effects of this medication.
Jeez.
So by switching over to Adaptive, we can have a blend that will help regenerate cells, keep cells healthy, and not have those awful side effects. So basically, you can hopefully be yourself with less anxiety. Because right now that medication was making that person not themselves, and not really helping the anxiety as much, because one of the side effects is anxiety. So I don't know if anybody else is confused by that, but I was very confused by that. And it's just not something that I want to have in my house, because it's in this situation, everything is heightened. And that's kind of why we were looking at those side effects the other day and realizing that more now, because everything's at a much more heightened state than it ever has been. So sorry, that's just like a little soapbox, but the stress and anxiety thing has been like on my heart for a couple weeks now, because I've just seen a lot of people going through it, and it doesn't seem to be getting better yet. And now it's also starting in the kids. So then it really grabs my heartstrings.
No, I totally understand that. Like, stress and anxiety is something I've dealt with in my personal life, depression, things like that. And so being in isolation, I know for a fact doesn't help. In fact, I've worked for a couple of mental health facilities in my work history, and one of the number one things they tell you is when you start feeling anxious or start feeling depressed is to break apart from that isolation. And now with the CDC and everybody else telling us to isolate for our own health and our own safety, it's a challenging place to be. So now, obviously, you want to be careful when it comes to getting off medication. Just need to reiterate that just in case anybody's looking at this, you want to check with your doctor and everything else like that before you fully pull yourself off of it.
Yeah, of course. And just to stamp that even further, I'm dealing with somebody in my home and in my family. So those are decisions that we made together. When I talk to anybody else about that, about things like this, we kind of go through all the options together, and then it's their personal decision and choice to talk to their doctor and see how they want to go about that. So I appreciate you saying that, because no, I'm not a doctor, and I would never tell anybody, just drop your medication and just like start using this, because that's not safe, and that's not safe for somebody's body, especially with a lot of those medications. You can't just stop them. You'll be in a worse off situation. So if they're very serious about getting off of a medication and trying to go on a more natural approach, I always recommend getting a doctor that will do that with you. Some doctors will just say no, because they just don't know anything about homeopathic ways. And some doctors go the extra mile and want to know more about homeopathic ways, and they've studied it maybe, or they're more apt to help you. But I would find a MD that will help you. And then that can be, an integrative situation.
Thanks for watching. Hopefully you were able to get something out of this episode for you or your business. There's going to be links down below where you can contact today's guest, as well as a place where you can listen to this episode in its entirety, either on YouTube or some other podcast. But for now, hopefully this was beneficial, and we will see you next time.